Ever wonder what it really takes to make it as a trader? Not just, a lucky streak here and there, but like long-haul success. Well, you're in the right place. This deep dive, we're getting inside the minds of trading legends through Jack Schwager's Market Wizards. Think of it as our shortcut to their hard-won wisdom and hopefully some aha moments for you.
Schwager's book, it's a classic, and it's not just because he interviewed any traders. These were the best, the top, across different markets, different times even. What's really fascinating, I think, is that he wasn't looking for that one magic formula, that holy grail of trading,
Right.
Instead, he gives us this incredible tapestry of different strategies, mindsets, and the often surprising paths these traders took to reach the top.
You said a surprising pass. Honestly, I was hooked from the start by how many of these wizards came from backgrounds, well, let's just say you wouldn't expect. It wasn't all, Wall Street prodigies born with silver spoons and all that.
Yeah.
We're talking about, like, a commodity broker's chart keeper, a college dropout.
Yeah.
There's even a story about a guy who got his start because, get this, he answers a trading ad while backpacking.
It's like, imagine finding out a world-renowned chef, right? Like Michelin star kind of chef. And you find out they learned to cook from, like, a street food vendor.
What?
That's Ed Seykota, the backpacking trader I was talking about. And get this, he turned $5,000 back in the 70s into over $15 million, all while, kind of rejecting that whole traditional Wall Street mold.
Okay, now that's pretty inspiring. You don't need a fancy degree, connections. It sounds like what you really need is passion, a willingness to learn, and, I don't know, maybe a bit of luck.
Definitely. It's almost like, trading has more in common with, say, becoming a master craftsperson than climbing the corporate ladder. You find your own path, hone your skills, and hopefully create something amazing.
I like that. I like that a lot. So this kind of leads us to the constant debate in the trading world, right? Gut feeling versus cold, hard data. Do you trust your instincts? Go with your gut. Or do you bury yourself in the numbers? Charts, economic reports, all that.
The age-old question, are you a technical trader, glued to the charts, living and breathing those patterns? Or are you a fundamental trader, poring over economic indicators? Honestly, it can feel like choosing a side in some epic battle. And here's the thing, Market Wizards doesn't take sides. It actually features champions from both camps, which I think is really interesting.
Oh, okay. So it's not as black and white as it seems.
Not at all. We see traders who swear by technical analysis, relying on those chart patterns and indicators to guide their decisions, no question. But then on the other hand, we also meet these incredible traders who find their edge through deep fundamental analysis. They meticulously study economic reports, company financials, global trends. I mean, you name it, they're looking at it. And that's how they make their moves.
So which is it? Which is the right way? Give us the inside scoop.
The real insight here, and this is crucial for anyone really, but especially for anyone new to the trading world, is that there isn't one right way. It's about finding the approach that resonates with you, with your personality, your risk tolerance, how you naturally think about information.
So how do you figure that out? I mean, how do you know what works for you?
It's about identifying a methodology that allows you to make decisions, rational decisions, decisions that aren't driven by, fear or greed.
That makes a lot of sense, but do you have an example from the book? You know me, I love a good story.
Let's talk about Marty Schwartz. He's one of the traders interviewed. He spent years struggling to find consistency using fundamental analysis. It wasn't until he fully embraced technical analysis, focusing on the charts, the patterns, the indicators, that he found his groove. And he started to see, incredible results.
So it just clicked.
For him, it did. The key for Marty was discovering a methodology that clicked with his natural way of thinking.
So it's like some people are wired to be visual learners, right? While others, they thrive on logic and analysis. And it's not about one being better. It's just about finding that trading style, that thing that just clicks with how your brain works.
Precisely. And that leads us to another critical point that, honestly, a lot of traders, especially new traders, tend to overlook. Risk management.
Oh, yes. Risk management, often seen as, the unsexy but absolutely essential part of trading. It's definitely not as thrilling as, say, picturing yourself buying a castle with your winnings, which, believe it or not, is something one of the traders in the book actually considered.
Yes. This trader's story, it's incredible. And it perfectly illustrates, I think, both the allure and the absolute danger of trading psychology. This guy, after a few good trades, some early wins, he became so confident he almost bought a castle in France.
Wait, hold on. He almost bought a castle. Okay, I have to know, did it at least have a moat?
It did. It did have a moat. But the real takeaway here, and it's a lesson worth honestly more than any castle, is that preserving capital, it's just as crucial, if not more so, than making it.
Right.
You could have the most brilliant trading system in the world, the best strategy anyone's ever seen. But if you don't manage risk effectively, if you're not careful, one bad trade, just one, can erase months, even years of gains.
So how do these market wizards, how do they handle risk? What sets them apart?
Discipline. These traders are incredibly disciplined, and they use something, it's called uncle points. Imagine drawing a line in the sand before you even enter a trade.
Okay.
That line, that's your uncle point. It represents the maximum acceptable loss. So when the trade hits that point, you get out, no questions asked.
It's like a predetermined eject button, just in case things get a little too hot.
Exactly. And this is key. They avoid chasing losses. That really dangerous urge to double down on a losing position, hoping to make it back quickly, which, let's be honest, often just makes things worse. They understand that walking away from a losing trade, even if it feels painful at the moment, is often the smartest move.
It's like knowing when to fold 'em in poker. Sometimes the best hand is the one you don't play.
Now, beyond managing risk in, individual trades, market wizards also reveal something, I think, even deeper. The psychological battles that even the most successful traders, they all face.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. We're going beyond, the charts and the numbers and into the minds of these trading legends. What kind of stuff did they struggle with?
Well, even the wizards, they weren't immune to ego. To those ego clashes, that temptation to prove they were right, Even when the market was telling them, hey, you might be wrong on this one. And this, as you can imagine, often led to stubbornness, over-trading, and ultimately more losses than necessary.
It's that classic trap of falling in love with your own ideas, even when all the evidence is telling you, maybe not, maybe not. Are there any stories from the book that, really show this in action?
There's a story about a trader. He suffered this massive loss, and after, he just couldn't face going back to the office because he felt everyone was secretly enjoying his downfall, wanting to see him crash and burn.
Wow. I mean, that's rough. It just shows you, even when you're dealing with, millions of dollars trading, it can still feel so personal.
It underscores just how important it is to separate your ego, your sense of self, from your trading decisions. The ability to admit, hey, I was wrong on that one, take the loss and move on without it derailing you, that is essential. Because remember, the market doesn't care about your pride, it doesn't care about your feelings. It just is what it is.
Okay, so we've covered, finding a trading approach that suits your personality, managing risk like a pro, and, keeping those egos in check. What else can we learn from these market wizards?
Well, there's this common investor fallacy that market wizards addresses, and it's this seductive but dangerous belief that this time it's different.
This time it's different, huh?
Meaning, current market conditions are somehow unique, and historical patterns, all those things we've learned from the past, they no longer apply.
Ah, yes. This time it's different trap. I've been there. It's so easy to fall for, especially when, everyone around you is caught up in the hype.
And it often leads to overconfidence, to just completely disregarding those warning signs, the ones that are usually flashing bright red. A classic example, and this one's, it's a big one, is the 1987 stock market crash. Leading up to it, there was this widespread euphoria, and some analysts were even claiming, get this, that there was a shortage of stocks.
The shortage of stocks? You mean like there weren't enough stocks to go around? That seems,
okay.
I don't know, kind of laughable now looking back.
It does, doesn't it? But back then, people bought into it. And it's just a good reminder, I think, that markets are cyclical human behavior. It tends to repeat itself. And when everyone's singing the same tune, it's often a good time to maybe question things a bit. Proceed with a little caution.
So it's like that old saying, if it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is, especially in the markets.
Especially in the markets. Okay, so beyond specific strategies and these mental traps to avoid, does market wizards highlight any other, less obvious but equally important factors behind, lasting success?
One of the things that really stood out to me, it's the sheer amount of hard work these wizards put in. They don't just coast on, intuition or luck. Many of them, they meticulously analyze the markets every single night, constantly learning, adapting, refining their approach.
So it's not enough to just have a system. It's about the constant work, the dedication to evolving and improving. It's like you were saying before, a master craftsperson,
Right.
always honing their craft.
Absolutely. And another crucial trait, and this one's big, self-awareness. Understanding your strengths, absolutely, but also your weaknesses, and knowing when to step back. There's this one trader, he had a rule. After a big winning streak, he would take a day off just to avoid, getting overconfident and making reckless decisions.
Knowing yourself is just as important as knowing the markets. It's like a professional athlete who, not only trains their body, but also prioritizes rest and recovery to avoid burnout.
Exactly. Trading success, it's a holistic pursuit. It demands discipline, mental fortitude, a constant willingness to learn and to evolve as a trader.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground here, from like the importance of risk management to the psychological stuff. If you had to, distill the essence of market wizards into a single takeaway, a powerful message for aspiring traders, what would it be?
It's fascinating. Despite all these different backgrounds, different strategies, different personalities, even almost all the wizards, they emphasize this one, overarching principle.
Okay, hit me with it.
The most important thing in making money is not letting your losses get out of hand.
It's not about avoiding losses altogether, right?
Yeah.
Because that's impossible.
Impossible. It's about controlling them, understanding that they're part of the game.
It's about knowing how to lose, but not letting those losses, become catastrophic.
Exactly. It's about knowing your risk tolerance, setting those boundaries, and most importantly, having the discipline to stick to them, even when your ego's screaming at you to do otherwise.
And that, my friend, is a lesson worth more than a castle with a moat. But, okay, let's get practical here. What does that actually look like in practice? How can our listeners, take that wisdom and put it into action?
Well, I think it starts with understanding that, risk tolerance, it's not just some theoretical number or percentage, right?
Right.
It's about honestly assessing, how much are you truly comfortable losing? Financially, yes, but also emotionally without it, derailing your trading plan or, frankly, impacting your life outside of trading.
Because that's the thing, right? Let's be real. Losses, they're inevitable in trading. It's not a matter of if you'll lose, it's a matter of when and how much.
Exactly.
And if a loss, no matter how small, is going to send you into a spiral of doubt, revenge trading, all that, then you're not truly prepared.
And, that ties back to something we talked about earlier, self-awareness. The wizards, they weren't just masters of, analyzing markets. They were masters of analyzing themselves. They understood their strengths, but also their weaknesses, their emotional triggers. And that allowed them to stay disciplined even when the market was, throwing everything it had at them.
So it's like having a pre-flight checklist.
Sure.
Right. But for your own psychology, before you even think about entering a trade, are you feeling focused?
Yeah.
Objective? Or are you, bringing baggage from a previous win or loss into this decision?
Precisely. And if you're not in the right headspace, sometimes the wisest move, the most disciplined move, is to step away. Take a break. Come back when you're feeling more grounded. Because remember, the market's going to be there, right?
The market will always be there.
Your capital might not be if you let your emotions take the wheel.
Okay, so before we let you get back to analyzing those charts and, conquering the markets, what's one thing, just one thing, you wish you'd known about trading psychology before you started this whole journey?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I think it would be the power of expectations. When I first started, I had this belief that if I just found the right strategy, I'd be on this, one-way ticket to riches. But what I learned, often the hard way, is that trading, it's less about predicting the future and more about managing your expectations in the present.
It's not just about being right or wrong on a trade, but about how you handle the inevitable ups and downs that come with the territory.
Exactly. Because even the most successful traders, they have losing streaks, they have periods of doubt. It's their ability to navigate those challenges without letting their expectations derail their process that sets them apart.
This has been, wow, this has been eye-opening. We've gone from castle dreams to the nitty-gritty of, risk management, self-awareness. And I think the biggest takeaway for me, and hopefully for everyone listening, is that trading success, it's not just about finding the right strategy. It's about developing the right mindset.
Well said. Because as we've seen from the market wizards, the path to success in trading, it's less about magic formulas and more about mastering the psychology of the game.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder your own trading psychology. Until next time, happy trading. And remember, protect your capital and your sanity as fiercely as you pursue profits.